Hey everybody, welcome to the 7th edition of the PegNet Weekly Update. I'm Katie Z. I'm joined here with David Johnston, Paul Snow, Stephen Maisley. We've got a very full week of updates that will require some explaining and want to make sure that we do a good and thorough job getting the information out to everybody. Some big updates with the development. So let's dive right into it. I don't know if who wants to take this one. We've got a couple of developers on there. But let's talk about the most recent update and let's get that out in the front of what's going on with the PEG development, what's happening on Monday, and let's kick it off bright and early with this video here.
Sure. I put out an article about the idea of creating a predictable PEG supply for PegNet and having that supply curve, just really easy to explain to people in the community. And so, I think that sort of kicked off a lot of great discussion in the public chat. And yeah, it's kind of gone from there. I do want to give to Curly and
Sorry, David. There was a little background noise going on with one of the other feeds. The mic wasn't picking you up. You want to go over again that you just published this article? Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So I was just putting out this article about predictable supply of PEG. I guess I published it on Sunday. I did want to thank our friend Pearly for making awesome graphics that hopefully will make this a lot easier when people show up and they're like, how many PEG are there? We can point them at these type of graphics that explain, less and less PEG percentage over time, how the arbitrage works for people using PEG to close the price spreads between the exchanges and the PegNet. So I think those are going to be super helpful for the community members. So anyway, yeah, got a lot of great discussion and reaction from the idea. And yeah. Announcement posted today about an update to the software to get that done. And credit to Stephen and the other developers that have been putting that together.
Absolutely. Do you guys want to go into what requirements is on the rests on the community coming up and how they should respond or what they need to know?
Stephen, do you want to talk about how people should update the software and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, updating's pretty trivial for most users. All you're going to be doing is downloading the latest binary and swapping it out with the one you're already using. It's going to be using the same configuration files and same database as before, so there shouldn't be any difference between what you're doing now and what you will be doing in post-update. And of course, you got to get that done before Monday. That's your deadline.
So what happens if they don't update before Monday?
So if you don't update, this is a hard fork update. So if you don't update, you're going to be on the wrong PegNet chain, and at that point, everything you're going to be doing is just going to be only noticed by yourself and whoever else hasn't updated with you. So you'll be on your own little island.
And is this only for the miners or is this for the full community?
So this is for everybody. So we have two hard forks, one's with the miners, one's with everybody else. And so we decided to launch them together. Just so it's just one big update for everybody versus, two updates for two independent parties for two different times. So for the PegNet D users, people using transactions conversions, you have that PegNet or that PEG capacity that we're putting in place. So we're going to have a maximum of 5,000 PEG being converted into per block. So only 5,000 PEG will be generated from conversions per block. So that's the hard fork for the PegNet D users. And the hard fork for the miners is that we are now going to be getting our price for PEG from the exchanges rather than the previous code would to get it from an equation based on the total market cap of the P assets. So miners are going to have to start querying the exchanges for the PEG the PEG price, and then they'll be reporting that on chain. So we're going to be having PEG prices be on chain now, which is obviously I think that's great for the ecosystem because the PEG equation was only to bootstrap us to get us a price to start with.
And so the floating peg price will take place on, that'll take effect on Monday. Is that correct?
Yep. Yep. They'll both go live Monday. So
And
both are very, very much related in a way. So they have to go live together.
Understood. And so what do you guys anticipate happening once that goes kind of off and onto its own?
Oh, so many things. I mean, it's interesting because the peg capacity, for example, I think that's going to create a lot of converted pegs before Monday, because before Monday, people can convert as much as they want. So we're probably going to see a peg supply increase. But at the same time, when the peg price goes floating, we're probably going to see a price increase, which are going to encourage people to convert out of peg. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic what happens between now and in the coming week.
And is there a limit to how many what the capacity is?
Yeah, this is. I'll jump in. This is a 5,000 pegs are convertible per block, and you take all the attempted conversions and you give everybody the percentage of or proportion of the tokens that they asked for. So if, for example, there are twice as many tokens in a block attempting to be acquired through conversion, so like 10,000 tokens, twice 5,000, then everybody will get half their ask. And if there are fewer asks than there are 5,000 tokens, then everybody will get 100% of what they asked for.
So does this mimic another familiar cryptocurrency to people, or how can they kind of think about this? Or is this completely novel and innovative?
I think it's pretty unique to PegNet because conversions are unique to PegNet. Everybody else has to go to an exchange and trade, whereas with PegNet, you can rebalance within your own wallet. And, you know, part of this is the importance of factor, where if you have a very illiquid asset, somebody can try to move around the price and take advantage of the conversions. And so, you know, by making these effectively, you can convert as much as you want out of peg into any pegged asset, but then you have to compete to get back into that peg position, right? You can't just kind of flip back and forth. You know, with dollars or gold, there's trillions of dollars traded. Nobody's going to be able to move those markets in a meaningful way to try to, you know, take a small advantage on PegNet, right? So, you know, it's very safe with the fiats and the huge cryptos, anything with a lot of trading volume. So this is also sort of related to a PegNet improvement proposal that went live recently around requiring at least 100 million in market cap and at least $5 million dollars in daily trading volume, right? So we had always said a bar and said, okay, that's the bar. But what do you do with the two assets that are under that, right? You need factoids in order to allow people to enter the system. You need peg to reward miners and for arbitrageurs to do their thing. So it's like, well, you know, using these effectively a one-way conversion on factoids and entering this conversion limitation on peg allows you to keep their functions without, you know, leaving open that attack vector. So that's sort of part of what gave the urgency and interest in getting this update done now versus before or later.
Excellent. And for anyone who's watching this, feel free to chime into the Discord, which is at pegnet.org/chat. And pretty much 24/7 now, we've got people able to respond for the most part and help. Emric is the EMRCK, CYK, something like that. He will be able to respond and help you with any of the update needs as well. So if you go to the announcement channel, you'll see that in there and you'll know where to go to get any help with this. So I just want to put that out there. On the development front, are there any other updates or comments that you guys want to make that you're working on or that's being worked on?
I mean, we're always trying to improve small things. Those things tend to go unnoticed. We added, WhoSoup added a rich list to the API, which was just kind of a nice feature. So there's always some nice features kind of being rolled out. Big term though, we're still working on the Ethereum gateway information and compatibility. So I think that's the next big update that we're rolling out within, I don't know, a week or so.
That'll be really exciting because then effectively we'll be able to have PegNet available or the Peg tokens within all and pegged assets. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, all the pegged assets. Yeah.
All Ethereum wallets, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So that work's already been started. We got a lot of work done. A lot of it was design and planning with the community. Some changes have been made, but then we put it on the back burner to get this update that we got out announced today for Monday. So now that update's out, we'll go back to the Ethereum gateway work.
It's also where some people in the community are working on a GUI wallet, and progress is being made on that as well. I don't know if you have anything more detailed, Stephen.
No, I don't. I know who's doing it, but I don't have anything specific from them. I've just been informing them of the changes we make to make sure that they have everything they need.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I talked to them, they were hoping to have a beta version available for testing potentially this week. But I think they're taking a good approach of just being very, very sure they've tested the software and they've got it right. But hopefully we'll see that sooner than later. I intend to be one of those beta testers, and I know a lot of other people are interested in the GUI wallet. So as soon as that comes out, I'm sure there'll be an announcement posted. But definitely jump in the Discord if you want to do the beta testing, because it'll probably be announced in there maybe before it's more broadly put out. So we're going to find as many bugs as we can. But yeah, the sooner we can have a GUI wallet, that'll be a big step for the community. Just make it easier and easier for people to access Peg.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, recent news this week so far is that PegNet is now listed on another exchange, Citex exchange, CITEX. Of course, all the links are going to be posted below in the YouTube video. But that exchange, I think they're based out of Korea. So it's live there, and always exciting news to get more arbitrage opportunities. And
probably related, I did notice somebody converted $40,000 into Korean won on the PegNet. I think they actually took pegged Bitcoin and converted it into 40,000 worth of pegged Korean won. So I'd be curious if either the exchange is going to list that pair, or if it's just that community starting to become aware of PegNet and trying it out. But that was great to see. If you look at the PegNet market cap, I think one is, now number 4 after Peg one. It's past the dollar in most usage. So interesting note there.
that certainly is interesting. If you haven't bookmarked that site, definitely do so. PegNet is also a couple of cool things. Last week we did announce it. PegNet was listed on CoinGecko.com just this afternoon. PegNet is now on the radar for Blockfolio. So there's not any information around that yet, but they're plugged in, and we'll certainly be applying for the Signal opportunity to send and push updates out.
Yeah, and credit to community members like Dave Chapman. I know they filled out a lot of forms, and I now see PegNet show up on CoinMarketCap. The data isn't fully populating yet. The project, the name, sort of, continuing to solidify the community having that namespace is really cool. So yeah, credit to everybody working on all those different avenues, so people know that the project is there.
sorry, David, you cut out just a little bit there. What were you saying about the namespace on CoinMarketCap?
Oh, just that we're helping solidify that and just giving credit to Chapman and others for getting us on there.
Excellent. Very, very cool and good stuff. Let's see, what else can we cover this week? The big one is that update. Want to make sure that everyone's informed on that. The mining pools are super feverish and growing. So are there any new mining pools that have hit the
I know a few folks in Asia are using the being used around the world. Stephen, I believe, is Stephen. I don't know if you want to talk about the code update, but you know, I think the pool operators will need to update. If you're running on a pool, I don't think you'll need to update necessarily. But Stephen, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, sure. So David cut out a little bit, but we are aware that there are private pools. We don't know how large or anything like that. So there are more pools in existence, but not all of them are open to the public. And the ones that we know of are using the open source Prosper Pool software, which, as David mentioned, we did push out an update to match the PegNet update. So those Prosper Pool operators are going to have to update by Monday, but the miners themselves will not have to update. So just the pool operators will have to do that. And that goes for the Orax miners as well. I don't think the miners on the Orax pool have to update, just the pool operator will be updating. And I informed him, so he's, I think he actually finished the update today as well. So everyone's getting their things done.
Yeah, good to see that. David, did you want to add something there? Just saw you.
Well, the other big thing I saw this week is pegged dollars hit parity with dollars. So they're now trading 1 for 1. If you check PegNet market cap, it's $1 on the PegNet and $1 on the exchanges. So maybe those arbitrage graphics that Pearly and the guys at Matters cooked up for the article kind of helps people understand how to do that cycle. But regardless, somebody has moved in and has closed the spread on dollars. So it's really cool to see that. So that starts after Monday when Peg goes free floating. That'll make a lot of the rest of the arbitrage a lot easier too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Pearly, for those graphics. They're really helpful. A lot of people have been asking in a lot of the different channels that I'm keeping an eye on, and so appreciate that a lot. And we also, on that, we have a lot of activity going on, and it's just kind of spreading right now. Telegram's growing a lot, Twitter, of course. More and more folks are wanting to do AMAs on their Telegram, so a lot more people are starting to hear about PegNet. In fact, we have one coming up on Friday. So if anyone that's watching this wants to be in that AMA or monitor it, and it's a good way to, to understand the project and the workings of it, and then, chime in when you have a question too. Unless you're on here and you have any questions to ask too, happy to field them. We don't have any though right now. but other than that, there is also meetups happening, and we're looking to really build that out, looking into 2020 to help do some more grassroots and some regular gatherings of folks. So we have a meetup coming up in New York City. So if you're watching this and you're in that area, that'll be on December 18th. And mostly if you keep updated on our Discord and our Twitter, whatever suits you best, WeChat, we'll make sure that the key messages are getting out to everybody.
That's awesome. And I do want to highlight and thank who I see is on the line, HEMA CEO. So which hosts a lot of the community presentations. So thank him for putting those up there and always adding more languages to the support. So if anybody has new translations of the PegNet presentation. Hakeem is on Discord, and he always loves to add that content to pegged.network.
That link is also in the YouTube description on each of these videos, where you can see just about every single link that we've got right now. So whatever you're looking for is there below. I don't have a whole lot else. I think the big thing was the development in terms of the mining activity and the supply or exchange volumes, or I'm sorry, the daily volumes, et cetera. Those kind of key health checks are still really strong. There's not been any reason to see that things are slowing down any. So that's exciting to report. Does anyone else have any comments or things that they'd like to add on this weekly update?
No, just thank everybody for being part of the community. It's been cool to see how many people, we're getting close to 1,000 folks on Discord. So, you know, it's grown into quite a thing. It's kind of like an avalanche has started. There's no stopping it, and I'm just trying to surf on the top and keep up with everything going on. So.
Yeah, if you go to pegnetmarketcap.com, right at the top underneath of where it lists what the daily volume is and total supply, you'll see a running ticker of how long PegNet has been live on the mainnet, which is just 58 days and 13 hours at the time of recording this. So super early days for anyone looking to get involved as well.
Yeah, and this is a fully distributed autonomous protocol. So I'd point out to everyone that they're on even footing with everybody. The developers and the people that were working early on really don't have a different kind of exposure to the PegNet and the upside of the PegNet than anybody else. In fact, we architected it so that there were not really cheap tokens to be snatched up early on. And the ability to convert into the tokens is as open now as it was in the very beginning. The rules do change on Monday. So if you do want to position in the peg, that's the time frame you have to think about. You can always wait and see if it's successful, and like almost any other crypto, early on you get a better price than later, or at least that's always the hope. You know, it's crypto, you can't tell, but the architecture is designed to provide these stable assets to lots of different applications and lots of different situations. And if those assets are useful for payments, and if they're useful for liquidation, and they're useful for managing your store of value, then you can see some value in holding some PEG tokens, and they'll be available on the exchanges. And it is early days. This is an opportunity. You know, I can remember when Ethereum went up to $50, and I thought, well, you know, I was too late. I can't buy any Ethereum. Now, I think looking at the PegNet prices, Ethereum is at what is it, $100 to $130 or something, $147. You know, you just don't know. But we're building these systems to solve real problems, take out middlemen, and make commerce frictionless, and make it more secure, allows you to do a lot more things inside your wallet, where your wallet is the most secure place to hold your assets. There you go.
Beautiful. I want to actually use this opportunity, and we speak about it a lot, so it might be a little redundant to those that are on this chat, but for those who are just getting involved, there's always the common conversation of what is the definition of decentralized finance, and first that subset needs to be agreed upon. And I think Paul, now I'm not a CTO, we know this, but I do know some fundamentals that you've shared with everyone about how it came about to use LXR hash as the code of, is it code or?
It's a proof of work hash.
Right.
Yeah.
How that came to be and the role that it plays in the PegNet ecosystem. So I'd like to touch on that if we can, and then also some key important parts to understand about PegNet that are for those that are watching. If you want to touch on LXR hash and why
it matters. The main thing about the LXR hash is the limiting factor is access to RAM, and it does it in a rather simple and straightforward fashion. It leverages some hashing techniques that have been in the literature since the 2000s for being simple and fast on CPUs. And the idea is to simply create a hash algorithm that's efficient on PCs, but limited by RAM access speed, which prevents it from really providing much of an advantage to ASICs and FPGAs and GPUs. And so it becomes very approachable to just regular PCs. It basically, from ground zero, you've got nothing, no knowledge whatsoever. Looking up the instructions to join a mining pool is probably 10 minutes, maybe 15 if you're not very technical, but it's certainly not difficult. And it's getting easier and easier. I know that there's some effort to create a one-click join of mining pools. And the mining pools, if most of the hashing power is provided by the community, then the mining pools are answerable to the community for their honesty and the quality of their work. And it makes the distributed oracle that much stronger. So this is the LXR hash. If you go to the typical hashes used by blockchains, they tend to favor centralization and vertical implementation of mining pools, where the mining pools own everything from the hardware on up, and they're not answerable to anyone. And that is a dangerous precedent for mining pools. Or it's a dangerous situation for mining pools to get into.
Stephen, did you have anything to add to that before I touch on a couple of the other special parts about PegNet?
No, not really. I just hope to see more people join the pools, because it has been way easier. I mean, I've started my own miners up now that it's easy. I'm victim to it myself.
So is everyone setting up their family with mining PegNet for the holidays?
But I haven't yet. I'm certainly going to think about it.
What's there to think about, Paul?
And what is there indeed?
So the other things that I wanted to touch on for those that are new and joining and learning about PegNet to really understand is it's a mouthful, but PegNet is fully decentralized. It is open source. There is no founder. There is no governance. There's no IEO. There's no airdrop. There's been no founder's reward. And you are your own issuer in the network. There is no reserve. There's no collateral, which to me is essential. It just completely makes it centralized and no longer fulfills my definition of what a decentralized finance promise really holds. And so in my opinion, and I touched on this in another video before, is there's some key pillars that need to be standing. and all of them need to be standing at the same time. This is my opinion. Feel free to open up dialogue and challenge me. I love a challenge. But with that is you have to be public and free, right? It has to be open access to anybody to participate. Neutral, it has to be neutral, it has to be borderless, trustless. And I feel like I'm missing, of course, no governance. I feel like I'm missing a big one here at the moment. But as long as
there's no operators, so there's
right.
there's no one that is validating and choosing transactions that go in and transactions that don't go in.
Right. And I think at any point in time along any cryptocurrencies or decentralized currencies journey into the internet here is there's the opportunity for one of those pillars to be attacked or compromised. And at that point, then I think it would be fair to say that it's no longer fulfilling a decentralized finance. And what I feel is so special about PegNet is that there may be something else, but I'm not aware of it. But there is nothing else that I know of that is a truly decentralized stablecoin network where you are your own issuer. You're mining stablecoins. And as this is maturing, being able to liquidate and convert in and out of those is becoming more and more of an opportunity for everybody. And so I just wanted to send home that message to those that are watching, because I just think it's really important, because that's what PegNet is, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Let's go DeFi the world. Go, Katie.
That's right, DeFi the world. And DeFi the holidays on December 18th in New York City. Adam came up with that one. But if there's nothing else, no other updates here, I think we can close out this week's update and put our heads back down to work. There's a lot of things that everyone's working on around the clock, and hope to catch everyone in the Discord, Telegram, Twitter, wherever you are, WeChat.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate all the hard work. See you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks very much. Bye.